Hi everybody. Welcome to Kimmel'sIrishPub.com. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, Detroit. Have you heard of it? I haven't. One of my subscribers mentioned it to me and said, have you seen it? And I said, have you seen a review from it? Because if I see it, I share it with you. So I haven't seen this one. This one is based on the 1967 riots in Detroit, and some police officers respond to some complaint and act out in revenge. So you can imagine what happens. I don't know the full story behind it. I just like to get a little idea of the synopsis based on what they share with me, and then watch it and tell you what's really happening. But it has John Boyega from Star Wars, you know. Excuse me. And Anthony Mackie. You also know him from Avengers, two awesome movies, and Captain America, and We Are Marshall. What? Yep, that's right. That's where you've probably seen him first, maybe that's where I saw him first. Anyway, so it should be pretty interesting. It's one of the biggest uprisings, in the modern day. So 1967 Detroit. We're going to get into it a little bit and start watching it, and I will let you know what I think. I'm going to try and stop in a little bit more. Maybe that'll, drum up some more viewers. But I'll be back in a flat. I'll be back in a little bit and let you know what's going on. Thanks for stopping in. Hey everybody, we're watching Detroit. It is the 54-minute and 21-second mark, and a lot has happened. I didn't stop in yet, but it's getting really interesting. So, as I mentioned, this is about the 1967 riots in Detroit, which all started because they busted an illegal nightclub. So they had an illegal nightclub that had, a bunch of, it was all black people partying without a liquor license. It seems very harmless. They were having a good time. But anyway, the people in the neighborhood saw this happening and got upset. And from just busting that nightclub, they started to riot. Which is, I get it, they get upset, whatever, and protesting, but then the looting and the burning of their own homes and everything, so they pretty much trash all of Detroit and becomes a war zone. So they just like any other kind of riot, this is all going on. It's the neighborhood versus the police. And, there's some storylines going on, about a group of singers who are about to get on stage, but then it gets canceled because of the riots. There's also a cop who shoots a looter who is running away from him, and is going to be brought up on charges, but they let him back out. So at this point, they kind of converge. And again, we're only 54 minutes into it, but there's this hotel that a lot of people are staying at, and they're partying, having a good time. Meanwhile, while all the riots were going on, and during this party, one of the guys has the idea of shooting a starter pistol out the window. No bullets or anything like that. But then the cops and the army, who's now all in there, and the Coast Guard and everybody's there, think it's a sniper. So now they're going to raid the hotel where people are just partying and having a good time, and this guy made a poor decision. But that's also where the part of the singing group is now hanging out, and that cop is now. They're going to raid this place, and who knows what's going to happen. But I think this is going to get very interesting at this point. So I just want to share that with you. It's very good. It happened in '67. This is fact-based. So I don't know how much of it's true, but the whole thing in 1967, there were riots in Detroit, and it was huge. So I'm going to keep watching it here, but I wanted to catch you up on what's happened so far, and I'll check back in a little bit. All right. Hey everybody. As I promised, I'm going to do a couple more check-ins on this one. The movie is 2 hours and 23 minutes long, and I am currently at the 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 59-second mark. So I got a ways to go here, another 48 minutes of the movie, Detroit, by the way, in case you nodded off. But, as I had mentioned in the previous one, they raided the house where the guy shot the starter gun out of, because they thought he was a sniper. So I'm not going to tell you what happens, because it's very intense. You know, as you can imagine, they're trying to figure out who did the shooting, where's the gun, that kind of stuff. And you know, it's white cops against the black there, and there's some white girls there too. So they're trying to interrogate them, and you can let your imagination decide what you think they do in those kind of scenarios. I'm not ruining that for you, but you know, it goes on for a while, the interrogation. I'm just surprised that nobody would step up and be like, you know, it was a starter gun and it's underneath the bed or wherever it may be. You know, why wouldn't somebody say that? Because you know from watching the movie that's all it was a starter gun. But nobody says anything, so they let this continue to move on. So so that was a major part of the movie. Very intense. Won't tell you what happened, but so far this movie is very good. You know, it's the way it's filmed and stuff like that. It's kind of like a bad news kind of story. You know, not make you feel good, not an uplifting one, because you know it's a shame of what happened throughout this whole riot and what's going on in this movie. But it's well done as far as acting and storyline, plot, all the other stuff that goes into a good movie is here. And I'll talk more about it. I'm just going to jump back into this here because I got 48 more minutes. Maybe you'll see me again before the credits. Maybe you won't. You have to stick around and find out. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of Detroit. Very powerful movie. I really enjoyed it. John Boyega, I think I'm saying it right, played a phenomenal role. You only know him as Finn in Star Wars, or whatever his name is in Star Wars, and I liked him in that movie. He plays a totally different person in this one. So he's a security guard who, during the riots, and he's guarding a grocery store, and he gets involved in the raid of the hotel, and that's what the whole movie is centered around, the raid on this hotel. And as I had mentioned, you know, they're interrogating the people who were in the hotel about this gunfire that had come from it, and we know it was a starter pistol. But it's all centered around that. And my last check-in, it was just after that ended. And again, I'm not going to tell you what happened in that, but that's the whole thing. And I'm sure if you look it up in history, it's there. What ends up happening there, and then the rest of the film is about you know, now the investigation on the raid and the interrogation. And who was involved and everything like that. Anthony Mackie didn't play a big role in this, so I was a little disappointed, but I guess his acting chops weren't needed because the movie was good enough without him. But again, it goes on and you know, goes to a trial to determine who's guilty and all that kind of stuff. So again, I'm not gonna ruin any of that or any spoilers for you. Because I do recommend, this is one of those movies you should watch. I'm not even going to give any, wait here a second, I'll give you spoilers. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to invite you to go ahead and watch this film. It's around an 8 or a 9 for me. Not a 10. I think they could have done a little bit more. There was a little bit of relationship development that I think was missed. They tried to do it, but I think they could have improved upon that a little bit. But I mean, 2 hours and 23 minutes, you know, they had some time to fit that in there, I think. You know, it was long, but you know, they built it up. They showed how the riots started, showed how, you know, this raid happened, and then, you know, what the fallout was. So very good movie, great acting. The person who plays the head police officer, I don't know his name. I should have looked it up before I started recording. I apologize. Look it up. He did a great job. I've seen him in other movies. He really never stuck out to me. He did in this movie because of how well he did acting. A great movie. Not a great story, you know what I mean, but the way that they told it was great. So it was good writing, and it kept you interested the whole time. You know, there wasn't a point in time that I wanted to check my phone and see anything else. So a strong recommendation on this film, Detroit. Check it out. Let me know what you think about my review. If you do watch this, just at least let me know, hey, because of your review I watched this, or you know, whatever, or because of your review I didn't watch it. But let me know what you think. Good film. Go ahead and give it a watch. I think you'll really enjoy it. Make sure you have enough time. 2 hours and 23 minutes. All right. See ya. Thanks for joining. KimmelsIrishPub.com.